Hello everybody and welcome back to our coverage live here of game week 5 of the Optegra Premiership 2024-25. It's the final day and it is potentially the most important set of matches of the entire season. On one court we have West Bromwich Albion versus Aspire, that's what you're watching right now, and on the other court Teesside versus Villa Rockets. It's a battle for the title. Who will lift the trophy? Well, in about an hour's time we will know. This is a massive game. And I'm joined by a fantastic co-commentator, Ollie Crawshaw of Newcastle. Ollie, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you feeling ahead of this game?
Well, like you just said, there it's really important for like the title race, but they're going to be two amazing games. I think West Brom Aspire is always a good game, but on the other court, obviously Teesside and Villa, Teesside are going to feel the pressure since they've never had anything like this before. So I just think both of these games are going to be really good.
Yeah, we'll bring you live updates, of course, of Teesside versus Villa. We'll pull up that live table for you loads of times throughout this coverage. I mean, we'll get it up now so you can see how high the stakes are. Hopefully it will be coming up on your screen. There we go. So Teesside and West Brom, 54 points apiece. How much closer can it be? Currently, Teesside have a significant goal difference advantage. That's what you can't see on that table, which is the reason why if Teesside win, they will win the league unless West Brom win by like a 13-goal margin. But this is a massive game, and it's also the final chance, really, for people to stake their claim to awards. As you can see, Dylan Kelsall on 22 goals, behind Ed Common on 25 as the league's top scorer, even though all of those badges are incorrect on that. We'll go through the two squads as well, just to fill the time before the game begins. So, for Aspire, it's Sally McNeil, Dan McClellan, John Boulding, Bobby Williams, Tom Kelly, Rosie Hodgson and John Dixon. And if you look at the squad of West Bromwich Albion, one player less than Aspire, but they have Lucas Christa, Chris Gordon, Matt Gilbert, Bradley Bates, Ollie Rock, Dylan Kelsall and Barris Inell. We'll bring you the starting lineups when we can see the teams lining up on the courts for what is a massive game. Caroline Goldsborough is our central referee. Just done the speed test and getting herself physically and mentally prepared for this game. And Teesside are the favourites probably going into these final two games. They have had a glittering weekend of fixtures, most notably yesterday morning, in which they thrashed Aspire 3-0 and then went and beat West Bromwich Albion 2-0 straight after. What an amazing achievement from them already to get to this point and to bring it to the final game. And that trophy is well within their grasp. Ollie, I mean, what do you think the worst case situation is for Teesside? Obviously, it's quite a unique situation in terms of they're both playing at the same time. Both courts will be able to hear what's going on, know what's happening on the various courts. What do you think the worst case scenario for Teesside is?
I think if by half time West Brom are winning and Teesside are drawing, I think that's going to put Teesside under a lot of pressure, and it's pressure obviously they've got experienced players like Tyler and Ed, but as a team they've not really witnessed the pressure like that. So, and players for like Mitch, it's the first proper time he's going to be able to like challenge for a title. But yeah, like you said, I think the worst possible is West Brom winning at half time and Teesside drawing.
Yeah, I think speaking to a couple of West Bromwich Albion players earlier as well, that's what their hopes are. They hope that if they can go ahead early in this game, they can pile pressure on Teesside. It would be Teesside's first major title in the top flight. They haven't won the cup before. This would be their first league, and winning the trophy for the first time is notoriously the hardest thing to do. We see it in the running game all the time. You know, nobody's won a major trophy other than Aspire and West Bromwich Albion since Northern Thunder. Of course, Ed Common was one of those players that achieved that. He is a born winner, and he is in Teesside's ranks. He has maybe, arguably, been the point of difference for Teesside this season. But as this historic rivalry is about to begin, the tension around this place is absolutely palpable. The two captains, the two familiar foes in the centre, John Boulding and Chris Gordon, just doing the coin toss with referee Caroline Goldsborough. as I'm called to quickly go and move a chair, so I'll be right back. Just a bit of logistical issues around the outside of this arena. That is the joys of having a packed out courtside. All four sides of this, wherever a player can sneak into this sports hall, they have done it. There are lots of eyes on this one as we are very nearly ready to go. Just some serious parking being done here. Which is just holding us beginning this match back. I'll read through the lineups. In goal for Aspire, it's John Dixon, John Boulding, Dan McClellan and Rosie Hodgson. Chris Gordon wears the goalkeeper jersey for West Brom, though he's not started there. Matt Gilbert in between the posts, and Kelsall and Bates, as the noise around the arena from all sets of supporters has just ramped up slightly. A little noise-making contest before the game starts. Carolyn Goldsborough, thumbs up to all officials, to the two goalkeepers. And we are ready to go, so we are underway on both Court A and B. We'll bring you the latest in every game as West Bromwich Albion make the first foray into Aspire's territory. And Dan McClellan has to go back and take this kick in. He's got Boulding in the centre and Hodgson down the line. He allows it back towards Rosie Hodgson. John Dixon just clears it wide. Dan McClellan driving up against England teammate Dylan Kelsall. Obviously played many minutes as a wing partnership, those two, at the Home Nations tournament in Largs just last weekend. Assisted a lot of goals for each other. Dan McClellan and Dylan Kelsall were the top two goal scorers for that tournament, as a 2-on-1 in favour of West Bromwich Albion. McClellan and Boulding are judged to have been too close to each other in the centre of the court. Perhaps a small lapse in concentration. Teesside are probing away on Court A. West Brom in intense discussions as to what to do with this set piece. Boulding. Kelsall allows it to run originally, then looks to take it around John Dixon, wearing the goalkeeper jersey. Dixon, a versatile player who's played in many the position this season and this weekend. Here's Brad Bates. McClellan cuts out his pass back to Chris Gordon. Dan McClellan and Chris Gordon. McClellan not going to allow Gordon around him easily, and comes out of that dribble quite well, but then Kelsall dispossesses him. Lots of contact, dribbling battles in these opening couple of minutes. John Boulding gets around Dylan Kelsall. He has McClellan in the centre, just stops the ball in the corner. Wins Aspire a kick in. And so the first really dangerous area for a set piece in this game, and it's Aspire that have it. McClellan goes off the front bumper of John Boulding. Dan McClellan now picks off towards Rosie Hodgson, who plays back to John Boulding. Shut down by Dylan Kelsall.
Whoever gets the first goal in this game, I could see them winning, because if Spy get the first goal, they're not want to concede, obviously, but then if West Brom get the first goal, I think I could see it just for them slowing the game down as much as they can, because they know how much it means to them. So it's really important, that first goal.
Yeah, and I guess West Brom will have realised that the goal difference ship has sort of sailed. Like, there's no way they're going to catch Teesside. So all they need to do, the only job they can really do here is secure 3 points and hope that that's enough and that Teesside slip up. As West Brom are on the attack now through Dylan Kelsall. John Dixon, quick to shut his shot down, and then Boulding, challenged by Gordon, comes away with the ball. Kelsall into the challenge with John Boulding. Contact given against John Boulding. Here's Kelsall. Hodgson. Rosie Hodgson. Gordon gets the better of that battle, but John Boulding will just let that dribble out for an Aspire kick in. Dan McClellan sat over this kick in. It remains 0-0 on both courts. Boulding. Hodgson gets around Matt Gilbert, now one-on-one with Chris Gordon. Looks to take it infield, contact between Hodgson and Kelsall. Given against Rosie Hodgson, who seems to accept the decision.
Just didn't realise Dylan was there.
Happens. So she just tells us she didn't see him coming. Fair enough. Boulding in the centre.
We're going to see a lot of this in this game. Johnny just trying to hold up the play in the middle.
Contact foul against Matt Gilbert. Just deemed to have been a little bit too keen in that battle with John Boulding. Although you've got to be pretty keen to beat him. Boulding. Hodgson. Dan McClellan now. Chance to take it wide. It looked like there was potentially a second where a shooting opportunity was going to open up, but it was just shut down by Matt Gilbert at the last second. Boulding. McClellan. John Boulding trying to get there. Brad Bates takes it under control. Brad Bates now. Obviously a former Aspire man. Left last summer to rejoin West Bromwich Albion. Contact foul against Brad Bates. Spun and didn't get a lot of the ball and got the side of John Boulding's chair instead.
This is one of the, the first big opportunity really here. This set piece for Aspire.
Yeah, obviously a direct free kick as well. Boulding and Gordon not giving each other an inch in the centre. Characteristically so. Dan McClellan takes the set piece. Boulding allows it to ricochet off Matt Gilbert and then gets onto it wide and wins a corner kick for Aspire, who have been maybe the dominant force in these early exchanges.
Aspire have had a lot of the ball in attacking positions. West Brom, they've got the quality that they only need one break and they could score from it.
Quite worried for my legs here in the commentary box as Rosie Hodgson lines up to take this corner. And it's a poorly taken corner, but West Bromwich Albion's heads have just gone down slightly because Teesside have taken the lead on court A. What a massive goal. And you could see the visual frustration on the faces of the West Bromwich Albion players. They know that title has just slipped further away from their grasp. Corner kick.
That
Again,
is a very important goal for Teesside.
Yeah, you'd have to say this has been, goal kick, sorry. This has been somewhat of a the worst possible start for West Bromwich Albion. They're not making a lot of headway in this match against Aspire, and, well, Teesside seem to be getting on with their business just fine.
As we said at the start of the game, we were saying the worst possible for Teesside was to them be drawing 0-0.
Yeah, and I think, Teesside have doubled their lead. It's over for West Bromwich Albion here.
You can't see Villa getting back into this game.
So here comes Chris Gordon, who I'm sure will be frustrated but motivated by what is going on court A right now. Teesside holding that 2-goal advantage. Dylan Kelsall over this set piece. It's Chris Gordon, blocked by Dan McClellan. Kelsall in there, so I'll just show you right now on your screens the league table as it stands, because it's not good viewing for those of a West Bromwich Albion persuasion. If things end like this, it will be Teesside who lift the trophy. There's a contact foul given against John Dixon right on the edge of the Aspire penalty area. West Bromwich Albion really playing with very little pressure on their shoulders now, it feels like, because that second Teesside goal makes it incredibly unlikely that they're going to get anything out of this, as there's contact in the penalty area against Dylan Kelsall. Well, Ollie, if you're a West Bromwich Albion player right now, what are you even thinking?
Well, first of all, you can see that they're probably not going to win the league. But if I'm a West Brom player, I'm just thinking, just still try win the game, and because then they'll be level on points again. So it just shows that they've been competing with each other all season, and it's only really come down to goal difference.
Yeah, they really have been in fierce competition, Teesside and West Bromwich Albion. I mean, the game between them yesterday, I was privileged to commentate on it, and it was about as full-blooded as it gets. There's Boulding and Kelsall into a tough tackle in the centre.
West Brom
allowed to continue.
West Brom just need to not let their heads drop at the fact with the score on the other pitch, because they've still got a job to do on this pitch, and if they let their heads drop, then it's going to get more and more unlikely that they'll be able to do it.
Yeah, I think this is more of a mental game than anything now for West Bromwich Albion. They're a very strong, very headstrong side though, so you'd expect that they will be able to play this game out to the fullest, regardless of what's going on externally. There's Chris Gordon. To be fair, West Bromwich Albion have probably been in the ascendancy since the Teesside goals went in. The ball was very heavily down our end before that point, and now it seems to be West Brom putting the pressure on. So whether the Teesside goals have actually had the adverse effect and avoid them slightly, that could be the case. Here's Kelsall. Gordon puts it straight out of play. Dan McClellan. As Teesside score a third goal. Wow, they are not just securing the title, they are putting their own little Teesside shine on it. That is fantastic. 3-0 to Teesside. Villa Rockets look lost, and Teesside look jubilant, and yet I look over and I'm expecting to see celebration, but I just see Tyler Reeve, Ed Common, Mitch Tinkler looking relatively unfazed, getting ready to go again on the halfway line. a testament to the mentality of Teesside this season. They will be champions, and they will be very worthy of it, as 2-on-1 between Boulding and Hodgson would have been the eventuality had they not both recused themselves from that tackle. Now John Boulding. Contact against Dylan Kelsall. He is frustrated, Dylan Kelsall. On 2 yellow cards for the season. A booking in this would be a third, which ordinarily would seem suspended, but because it's the last game of the season, I'm not actually sure. I don't think it does carry over.
I don't think it does now.
Here's John Boulding. Kelsall. Gordon, McClellan. Hodgson. Looks to fire at the near post of West Bromwich Albion, goes out for a goal kick. Gordon. Kelsall. Battling with McClellan here. Wins the kick in to Dylan Kelsall. 5 minutes remaining of this half. Been relatively cagey, Ollie, but I think the headlines are all being written over on course A.
Yeah. There hasn't been one team that stood out from the other in this game. It's all been quite end to end, just like there hasn't been one real chance yet either. It's just been a lot of dribbling up and down the court.
Yeah, which I guess is characteristic of a West Brom Aspire game. They're rarely like goal fests, and for them to be goal fests, there has to be something weird usually that happens, like a red card or something to stimulate that. Here's Chris Gordon. Cleared by John Dixon. Gordon. Dixon. Kick in for West Brom. Kelsall. Bates. It's going to be another 2-on-1 in favour of West Bromwich Albion. Dan McClellan and John Boulding too close. This is a good chance for West Brom. A great area to have a free kick.
There's been quite a few free kicks on the edge of the boxes for both teams in this game so far.
Yeah, it's been very fiercely contested in that sense. But none of them have been really used to their maximum potential yet, which is why we're
they're
goalless.
both really good with set pieces, but like you just said, the set pieces so far in this game haven't really come to anything.
2-on-1 given against West Bromwich Albion. Chris Gordon called for a potential penalty after a challenge from John Boulding. The England captain shakes his head and laughs. Here's Dan McClellan. Stays in field. Gordon looks to go for a smash, sort of scuffs it out to the right hand side. McClellan tries to take a deft touch around Matt Gilbert, who keeps the ball in play. Boulding. Here's Hodgson. Back across towards Boulding. Cleared by Gordon and then by Gilbert. Just helped out of the pitch. Well. So we tick over into the final 2 minutes here on Court B. Spire 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. It's been a fiercely contested clash of two old foes. while nobody's winning this battle yet, the battle for the title is being resoundingly won by Teesside so far. It would take one of the, in fact probably the biggest power chair football miracle ever to see Teesside not lift the Optegra Premiership this season now. The glittering trophy, which is positioned on a podium just above Ollie and I's head on the balcony here in the Lee Westwood Sports Centre. It's been there on display all day, just as a constant reminder to these two sides what they're playing for. But that reminder has not rattled Teesside at all, as Rosie Hodgson has a chance. John Boulding, Rosie Hodgson fires a shot, ends up bouncing off.
That was probably the biggest chance of the game, that little attack there.
Yeah, that was a really good chance. As Hodgson, who already injured her thumb, high-fiving John Boulding yesterday, has just taken a blow to that same arm, which just getting a bit of re-strapping done. But yeah, that was a good chance. I mean, it ended up actually, Rosie Hodgson, I think, meant to shoot, ended up scuffing it back over towards John Boulding, but then created an even better angle for her. But to be fair, she was very close to Gilbert, wasn't she?
Yeah.
She would have had to literally hit it with like the corner of her bumper to get it behind him, in front of Chris Gordon. Was a difficult shot to execute as Gordon is chased down by Dan McClellan. Gordon, McClellan. And that's half time here on Court B. We'll just wait for the time to tick over. Ollie, any concluding thoughts after that half?
I just think from what was said throughout the whole half, it's been like it's been a good game, like battling with each other, but there hasn't been any real standout attacks or anything yet. But it was a good half.
Yeah, and I know you're going to go get ready for your clash with Throssels.
Yeah.
Next up at half time, so I will say goodbye to you. I'm going to miss you, Ollie.
Thanks
and
for
I'll
having me.
see you later on, I'm sure. And we'll be back. I'm going to nip over onto the Court A commentary and give a quick report, and then you'll get a similar one. So stick around to hear about the Teesside game from WFA chairperson Dean Williams in just a second. Right, so I'm joined by Dean Williams, who is going to give me a quick report. You've been watching Teesside 3, Villa Rockets 0. I mean, we've been able to see the effects of the tension on Court B here, but what has that half been like?
Yeah, I mean, so from a scoreline perspective, they are 3-0 to the good, and they are very worthy, Charlie, of being 3-0 to the good. So you could see at the start of the game, Villa Rockets, we know, are really dangerous. They've got quality within that team. There's recent history. They've beaten them in the quarter-final, albeit on penalties in the John Good WFA Cup. So they've got quality, and it was interesting to see how would they deal with that. The longer the game goes on, the nerves increase. To be fair, it was always about scoring that first goal early, and once they've done that, there's been no answer from Villa Rockets. And that's not a criticism. They have been awesome, Teesside. So if they are to be champions-elect, and it looks like it will play out that way, what a performance that they've put together, and the strength in terms of how they've gone into that game, and the quality of Tyler Reeve and Ed Common. And of course, it's almost disrespectful not to mention the others as well. Mitch Tinkler has bagged himself a brace. I mean, they just have looked very, very impressive. And they don't look nervous. They probably are a little bit nervous, but they don't look nervous at all. So interesting. I think they're learning a lot about themselves, and they look to me, I mean, anything could happen in football, but let's deal with the immediacy of this and for them lifting the Premier League title. But the reality is this could set them up for some time. They're going to be a force, I think, if they stay together.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we've seen the effects of their force on this court. It's really, those goals brought a completely different dynamic out in this game. It went from a very tense, cagey affair to one where West Brom really had the grip between their teeth. I think just to really force it and at least end the season on a win and show that Teesside won the league on goal difference more than anything else. But
I think that's the thing, isn't it? I spoke to Chris yesterday, and of course they would be very aware of the goal difference, which has increased again after the first games this morning. But I think the reality of that is that if you're not going to win it, you want to make sure the other team really has to win it, and you push it as far as you can. And even though people will think that does that really matter, I think it does matter. You know, from the psyche point of view, from a mentality point of view, it's something you take forward. And don't forget, if West Bromwich Albion are not to be successful here, which is looking like the case, they've got so much to play for, as have Aspire as well. So this feels like, your game you're watching feels like a bit of a warm-up, doesn't it?
yeah, a bit of a, I mentioned a precursor to the Cup final and to the Club World Cup.
Yes.
I'll let you get back, Dean, because we're about ready to go on Court A. We're having a little bit of a longer half-time huddle here on Court B, but I'll be back with you in just a moment to watch the second half of these old foes meeting. It's going to be a good one. See you in a minute. Well, after some serious commentary box reshuffling and remodelling, we are nearly ready to go for this second half between Aspire and West Bromwich Albion. Aspire, both teams actually looking like they're going to be unchanged at the break. As the second half has kicked off on Court A. You heard from Dean Williams there, just sensational from Teesside in every way. They will be thoroughly deserved champions. But this, as also mentioned by Dean, can serve as a precursor, a sign of things to come, because Aspire and West Bromwich Albion, this will not be the last meeting of these two sides this season. There will be the Cup final on the 29th of June. That is a confirmed date between these two sides, but there's potential for these guys to meet before that in Paris as well at the Fit for Club World Cup. A real cherry on the cake of what has been a fantastic Power Chair football season, as we are almost ready to go. Caroline Goldsborough getting ready to start her watch and kick off this half, and there we go, we are underway. So it's John Boulding who has the first kick towards Gordon, who tries to find Brad Bates. It's just thrashed out of play by John Boulding. Dylan Kelsall to take this kick in. Gordon, Boulding, comes off the back of Chris Gordon's chair, potentially could have been really awkward for West Bromwich Albion. Ended up being dealt with just about as McClellan rifles it into the side of Gordon and Gilbert and then wins his side a corner. Rosie Hodgson to take this corner kick for Aspire. Goes all the way to the back post and Dan McClellan gives Aspire the lead. Aspire's number 7. You can hear the celebrations. They have gone absolutely mental. I know it's a goal that doesn't mean a huge amount in terms of the league, but Aspire always love to beat the old enemy. And Dan McClellan has opened the scoring. It was a set piece that opened West Bromwich Albion up. And if it was in doubt that Teesside were probably going to be the name engraved on that trophy, well, it probably no longer is. West Bromwich Albion straight about trying to level this game up. Dixon into the challenge immediately. McClellan off the back of Dylan Kelsall. Dan McClellan driving his side up the court on the left-hand side. Gordon out there to meet him, puts in a great tackle. Now Bates picks off in towards Kelsall. Contact in the centre. This game has really come alive since the half-time whistle. McClellan, Boulding. McClellan just takes that ball with him, then met by Kelsall. Contact in the centre. Given against Dan McClellan. Less than pleased with the decision making of Carolyn Goldsborough, but accepts it and moves off. And so it'll be a free kick to West Bromwich Albion in the centre of the court. Brad Bates. His pass back to Gordon has neither the accuracy or pace to meet him. Wow, twisting, turning battle between two England teammates. It really is a pleasure to watch. John Boulding, though, gets the better of it. Now it's Brad Bates. Dan McClellan. Two on one in favour of West Bromwich Albion. Dan McClellan is the first to receive a yellow card. In this game, his 4th of the season, which, I mean, it's not the best title to have, but it would make him the most carded player in the league this season, should he end with 4 yellow cards. A player of usually quite good discipline up until this season is, well, having that record potentially reviewed this campaign. John Boulding just plays it into Dan McClellan in the corner. He's happy to sit and look after this football. Matt Gilbert doesn't allow him to win that corner kick. Boulding. Now it's Chris Gordon. 2-on-1 advantage played by referee Carolyn Goldsborough. Boulding. Kelsall puts it out for a kick in to Aspire. Would have either gone out for a kick in or been a 2-on-1. Boulding. Put out by Matt Gilbert. We'll show you the league table. So this is what the top 6 looks like now. So this win for Aspire would solidify 3rd place for them. which I'm sure will be something that they'll want, as Gilbert just pushes through John Boulding. And Matt Gilbert's going to be met with a similar fate to Dan McClellan just a few minutes earlier and get a yellow card. An excessive force foul from West Bromwich Albion's number 14. Boulding. McClellan. Hodgson. Sends Chris Gordon. Has a shot at goal. Blocked in the end by Gordon. Would have been an absolute belter if it had gone in. Boulding. Hodgson. Ball across. Looks for Dan McClellan. McClellan. Dan McClellan gives chase. Corner kick for Aspire. Hodgson. McClellan hits the post. That was really unlucky. A really nice move. I think everyone was expecting that to be a dummy towards the back post. Myself included, my eyes were fixed on John Boulding. McClellan just snapped in there at the front post. Well worked set piece. Spire have already beaten West Bromwich Albion with one set piece in this game. And a kick in for the reigning European champions. Obviously the reigning champions of England, West Bromwich Albion, who have to be given so much credit, even though it's not looking like they will be picking up the cup for the second year in a row. Well, John Boulding smashed it in. There is some serious fume up on the Aspire parents gantry above us. But the goal has been disallowed. It would have been a screamer from John Boulding, though. Never heard a reaction like that from the balcony. That was funny. But a warning shot from the England captain. But yeah, West Brom, just to get back to what I was saying before I was interrupted by that John Boulding thunderbolt. West Bromwich Albion have to be given so much credit. They've taken Teesside basically as far into this weekend as they could. Obviously the decisive match was that one between Teesside and West Bromwich Albion yesterday morning, where Teesside did get the better of them. But they have been, for large swathes of this season, they have been the best team in this division. They would have been worthy title winners, but doesn't feel like it's their year this year. But there's still plenty up for grabs for both of these sides. The Cup and the Fit for World Cup, Club World Cup as well. But Aspire have really dominated this half. Territory. This game has been played pretty much entirely inside West Bromwich Albion territory. Boulding. McClellan. Ball across towards Hodgson. Cut out by Chris Gordon. Here's Dylan Kelsall. Brad Bates is very high, been very isolated in this game. In fact, he really hasn't had many touches of the ball at all, which seems to be his role in these big games in this West Bromwich Albion system. Bates flicks towards goal. Dixon uses his back wheel to put it out for a kick in to West Bromwich Albion. Probably the highest they've got in this game so far. Brad Bates. Bates towards Gordon. McClellan's going to get there and be able to challenge him all the way. Here is Chris Gordon up against John Dixon. Gordon, Kelsall, McClellan into the challenge. Brad Bates just pops up between the chairs of McClellan and Kelsall for a second. Dan McClellan takes it away from Kelsall to begin with, ends up going back towards Chris Gordon. Aspire moving it nicely. Just a little collision there between Kelsall and McClellan off the ball. It's going to be a kick in for West Bromwich Albion. Chris Gordon. It's going to roll out for a goal kick. And there will be a change as well for West Bromwich Albion. Ollie Rock has come on. Replacing Matt Gilbert. So they're going a bit more attacking here. Here's Rosie Hodgson. Boulding. McClellan. Boulding. Bates scoops it away. It's going to roll out for an Aspire kick-in. So time ticking away for West Bromwich Albion. Dan McClellan. Bates full spins straight out of play. As Teesside had a fourth goal over on Corte. They really are putting on a show here. Here's McClellan. Boulding. John Boulding. Dan McClellan fires at the near post. It's going to roll out for a kick in to Aspire. Just over 6 minutes remaining. Dan McClellan and Chris Gordon. Battling all the way, ends up with a kick into West Bromwich Albion by the corner flag. Bowling quick to snap onto Gordon. He attempts to round him. That's Ollie Rock versus Dan McClellan out on the right hand side. Rock flicks back in towards Gordon, who cracks it back towards Ollie Rock, who fires a shot in towards the far post. Blocked by John Dixon. Good goalkeeping from the man in orange. Now Aspire have a chance on the counter-attack. Chris Gordon cuts it out. Ollie Rock takes it to the corner. Gordon. Two on one. In favour of West Bromwich Albion. This is a dangerous area for a set piece. Gordon. Rock. Takes a controlling touch, which is really not what was necessary in that situation. Now Aspire have bodies forward to attack West Bromwich Albion. Hodgson loses out in the pass. 2 on 1. Carolyn Goldsborough, getting a earful from both coaching staffs. As Rosie Hodgson has a chance, and it goes in! So Aspire have doubled their advantage. It's 2-0. Rosie Hodgson with the goal, and that basically ends any chance of West Bromwich Albion getting back into this one. And with just 4 minutes remaining, Aspire, their second half performance has been very dominant indeed. As they make 3 changes, I'm not going to put them through the graphics, but Bobby Williams comes onto the court, I think probably for his last Aspire performance, which is a nice moment for Aspire's number 14, a player who's put a lot of service in for the club, likely hanging up his bumper, if that's the right term, after this. I mean, he'll be at the cup final and he'll be in Paris as well, of course, but this is his last time representing the club on a Nottingham stage, likely. And so he receives a big reception from both his teammates and the balcony above. Thank you, Bobby, for your service to Power Chair football. Such a bubbly character, and is deserving the chanting of his name that is going on up on the balcony right now. Goal kick for West Bromwich Albion. 2.5 minutes remaining. Gordon, Kelsall, Boulding smacks it out of play. Was looking for Bobby Williams. This West Bromwich Albion are going to make a change. It's going to be Lucas Christa, who replaces Dylan Kelsall. Christa will play in the centre alongside Chris Gordon. Bates, Gordon, Rock. Loose pass. Bobby Williams was urged onto it. Boulding now. Gordon, Rock, blocked by Boulding, who's been absolutely everywhere in this game. Now Sally McNeil. Bobby Williams! That would have been a serious moment. Bobby Williams again! Some seriously carnival football going on here on Court B. An absolute roar every time Bobby Williams gets near the ball. Here's Sally McNeil. Over towards Williams. A good ball, just not quite where she was intending. As Teesside are crowned champions of the Optegra Premiership. That is the main storyline today. The full-time whistle goes on Court A. The celebrations have begun. On Court B, it's been, well, a nightmare for West Bromwich Albion. It's been a fantastic season, don't get me wrong, but when you're looking at how this afternoon could have gone, a West Brom loss and a Teesside win was about the worst thing that could be foreseen for Chris Gordon and his side. But they will rebuild, they'll go again for the Club World Cup in just a few weeks' time in Paris. Here's Lucas Christa, looking to battle the ball in. Goal not given. Don't know what's been given, whether Carolyn Goldsborough says it hasn't gone over the line or they rolled over the line. Didn't roll over the line, so it'll be a set ball on the edge of the box. Obviously, if she thought it had gone outside of the goalpost, it would have been a goal kick or a corner. So it'll be a set ball, contested between Boulding and Gordon. This will probably be the last action of this game. It's going to be a kick in for West Bromwich Albion. Bates. as you can just see over on court A, some tears streaming out of Teesside players. It's a lovely scene. I suggest you switch over to that stream as soon as this game is complete. It's a lovely moment. Tears, I think, from Tyler Reeve, from Mitch Tinkler. Real emotion, pure emotion. The parents and supporters now flooding onto the court to celebrate. What a day for Teesside. It is their day. They've waited for their day. As it's full time on court B, so it ends between the old enemy, Aspire 2, West Bromwich Albion. They get the last little victory of this season, but the glory and the honour is with Teesside. They'll lift the trophy. That'll happen soon, but a very good performance from Aspire. West Bromwich Albion, they've been fantastic. They've pushed Teesside all the way. Wasn't to be this year, but I'm sure they'll be right in amongst it again next season. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you for the next one, because there are still some questions, particularly towards the bottom of the table, that need to be answered. We'll be back in a bit.